Nolan Arenado is on the move. We have a Ranger Suarez contract signing. He is no longer a Philly. Kyle Tucker has been offered contracts. The Yankees made a trade. The Dodgers picked up a free agent. The Cardinals and Diamondbacks also made a free agent signing. And we might have to talk about how interesting that this NL West division might be to watch next year. This could be a very special division. All of that on today's episode of Warning Track Power. Let's jump right into this Nolan Arenado trade, as I feel like that is a good place to start because this is a confusing one. Nolan Arenado has been traded from the St. Louis Cardinals to the Arizona Diamondbacks, and what the Diamondbacks gave up is really not a lot. Arizona gave up right-handed pitcher Jack Martinez, who was the Arizona's round 8 pick in the 2025 first-year player draft back in July. He's likely going to be a minors reliever for a good amount of time, and this doesn't really make a lot of sense considering Arenado has been a very, very good player in the past. And just go to as far as look at Arenado's stats. Obviously, he's got a lot of all-star appearances. That is 8 for him. His best season was a 7.9 WAR back in 2022 with the Cardinals, a Rocky before that. And he had a few years of his career where obviously those 4 consecutive years where he was MVP 8th, MVP 5th, MVP 4th, MVP 3rd, MVP 6th. Don't mind the fact that he's also playing Gold Glove defense as he won 10 straight to start his career. Silver Sluggers mixed in there, All-Stars every year. He has really hit a little bit of regression, but I don't think that it is too big of an issue to worry about. I think Arenado will be able to bounce back really, really well. Now, Nolan Arenado is owed $42 million over the next couple of seasons. However, it is not going to work just $42 million for the D-backs. The D-backs are only going to be paying $11 million of that contract. The Rockies will still be paying $5 million of the dollars, and the Cardinals will pay the remainder of the $26 million of the Nolan Arenado contract. I mean, the Diamondbacks gave up like nothing, so I don't know what the thought process was on Nolan Arenado being a salary dump, considering signs are really not showing that he's gonna be like terrible next year. The Diamondbacks will get that third baseman. He's going to play good defense. He's going to hit well in Arizona with those doubles potentially. And I think this is a great move for the D-backs, especially because they really didn't have to give up any top prospects or anything like that, and they're not even required to pay the entire contract. As for the Cardinals' return, Jack Martinez, we will have to see how he pans out, but he's a right-handed pitcher, reliever, and we're just going to have to see how he works because haven't seen a lot from him so far in the low levels of the minor leagues. It is kind of hard to judge players based on that. The Diamondbacks have added some beef to their lineup with Nolan Arenado. Fangraphs currently has him hitting out of that 6 hole, playing third base, but they also have Perdomo, Marte, Corbin Carroll, Gabriel Moreno, Pavin Smith, Adrian Del Castillo, Blaze Alexander, Alec Thomas. Don't forget about their prospects, Jordan Lawler. He is on the rise. I think that he will be up at some point again next season. Now, the Nolan Arenado trade was not the only trade that I'm going to be talking about in this episode. The Yankees have made a trade with the Marlins. The Yankees receive left-handed starting pitcher Ryan Weathers from the Marlins for 4 prospects by the name of Dylan Lewis, Brendan Jones, those guys are both outfielders, and Dylan Jaso and Juan Macias, those guys are infielders. Ryan Weathers is expected to be the number 5 starter in the Yankees rotation due to Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon starting the season on the injured list. I don't know when they're supposed to get back, but when they do get back, I would assume that someone of the Warren or Heel or Weathers will transition to be a long reliever or sent down to the minors with an option, as Weathers does have one minor league option remaining. Now I'm just going to rattle off some free agent signings that went down in the course of in between episodes. The Dodgers have signed infielder Andy Ibanez to a 1 year, $1.2 million deal. And in order to clear space on the roster for him, they have DFA'd Ryan Fitzgerald, whom they got on waivers for the Twins last week. Figures, I made a video about him, and he gets DFA'd. I like the pickup for the Dodgers. I think it should be a very good move for them. Ibanez is a very good hitter, plays good defense. He'll play infield. I'm excited for this, Dodgers fans. Let me know what you think. The Arizona Diamondbacks sign Jonathan Loiasiga, former Yankees relief pitcher, to a minor league deal. And the St. Louis Cardinals actually made an acquisition instead of a subtraction. They signed Ryan Stanek for 1 year and $3.5 million with a $6 million club option for 2027. Red Sox fans, you guys have been waiting to hear this for a long, long time. This offseason has been nothing short of a complete bust. A terrible, terrible offseason. Red Sox owners and stuff, Craig Breslow, has not been doing very good, especially with that $10 million no trade clause, shenanigans with the Alex Bregman contract, which is why they missed out on him. But they might have just redeemed themselves as they got their number 2 starter. Ranger Suarez is a Boston Red Sox. He signed a 5-year, $130 million contract, which is a lot for Ranger Suarez, a guy who I really didn't think was going to get any more than like a 3-year, $90 million contract myself. He proved me wrong. There are no opt-outs in this contract. There are no deferred money in this contract. Now, however, due to Ranger Suarez's qualifying offer, the Phillies do get draft compensation for Suarez. For those of you who do not know what a qualifying offer is, for first-time free agents, teams can elect to offer that player a 1-year, $22.7 million contract for this season, and then they will hit free agency again. If they decline it, and then they don't sign back with the team will be given draft compensation, an extra draft pick in between the first and second rounds. And like I said earlier, Red Sox do get their number 2 starter. They can now go Garrett Crochet at the top of that rotation, Ranger Suarez in the 2, Sonny Gray as your number 3 starter, Brian Bayo as your number 4, who really put up a pretty solid year last year, and he will be down to 4, which is kind of crazy, and then they can have their starting pitcher 5 be Johan Oviedo, and I feel like that is a very solid rotation. Ranger Suarez is a guy who paints the edges of the strike zone. He had the lowest hard hit rate on balls in play in the major leagues last year with about a 30%. We all know about his changeup. It's gross. We all know about his curveball. It's gross. I am very interested to see what Andrew Bailey is going to be able to do with his sinker and his cutter and his slider. And if he's able to get those pitches in check, and as good as they have been in that All-Star season and playoff Ranger Suarez-esque, Ranger Suarez could have a 2.2 ERA. However, the difference with a guy who does have regressing fastball velocities by a slight margin every season since his rookie year. A guy who paints the edges, a command, slow pitch, kind of slow ball, ground ball pitcher. He is gonna be susceptible to kind of an iffy season. Like a couple miles per hour off your fastball could mean the difference of a 3.2 ERA and a 4.2 ERA, which is a little bit of a question, but I have trust in Andrew Bailey that he will be able to figure Ranger Suarez out and put a good 5-year contract to do use. Good for Ranger. He got his bag. We have a couple of updates regarding Kyle Tucker contracts. The Mets have rumored to have offered Kyle Tucker a $50 million AAV contract. The Blue Jays have been also rumored at a longer term deal. I would think that the Mets would be the team that Kyle Tucker would sign to due to the higher AAV and the shorter term contract, which is what he was aiming for in this offseason as of late. I also think that he and Juan Soto would be a great combination. You can move Soto to DH. You can have Tucker in the outfield. It's a defensive upgrade as well. And you get his solid bat in that lineup. The Blue Jays, however, would make a little sense, but if Kyle Tucker was to sign a Blue Jay, they would likely have to move Addison Barger to their bench to fit him into that outfield, which I don't think they would have a problem of doing for a guy of Kyle Tucker, and they could move some pieces around, maybe trade for a couple extra relievers, which might make that Blue Jays team a complete game changer. They might win the World Series instead of just going back there. They are a very good team at the moment as well, and I think they will only get better as the season progresses. And to end today's episode, I will talk a little bit about that NL West division is going to be a one to watch next season. You have the Dodgers in that division. They're the back-to-back champions. They're only getting better with the Andy Ibanez signing and the Edwin Diaz signing. The Padres, they got some young pieces, veteran leadership, a good offense headlined by Machado, Merrill, Tatis. They have a good pitching staff with Nick Pivetta. Will hopefully have a similar year for them at the head of that rotation. Their bullpen is one of the best 7, 8, 9 guys of all time. You can have Morahone in the 7th inning, Jason Adam in the 8th inning, Mason Miller closing games down in the 9th inning. That is a bullpen that you don't want to have to face in October. The Diamondbacks have been making some moves to get better. Obviously, Alex Bregman, getting him over. They re-signed Merrill Kelly in free agency. They do have decent pitching still. They have a decent offense. They play good defense. That's a very good team on paper, I would say. And the Giants, their infield is insane. Rafael Devers at first base. The second base is kind of the hole, but you have Willie Damas at short. And you have Matt Chapman at third base. And if they can trade for maybe a Brendan Donovan or sign a Bo Bichette, even though I don't think he's in the rumors to go to the Giants, this Giants team could have the best infield in Major League Baseball. Now, the outfield is a little shaky. Pitching staff is decent. I like the Giants' chances. I think all 4 of those teams are capable of making playoffs. The Rockies are the Rockies, and I don't think there's any expectations of them. It's the same every year. I do think that their young talent is and can be promising, and I am looking forward to seeing that. However, it's the Rockies. It's 2026. They're not going to be the worst team in baseball history like the White Sox were. They're not going to be as bad as last year, I don't think. I think some of their young talent is going to mature. But that being said, they are the Rockies, and I do still think they are a 5th-place finisher in that division. As for the rest of it, I'm going to say the D-backs are going to be 4th, the Giants 3rd, the Padres 2nd, and the Dodgers 1st. It is kind of hard to play against the Dodgers right now. Padres, obviously that bullpen is electric. And the Giants, I feel like their pitching and outfield might bring them a little lower in this rotation. And the D-backs, they have the pieces to go out and win. I just think that the competition in the NL West is just absolutely insane. So please subscribe to stay up to date on the game of baseball. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please comment any thoughts that you have down in the comments section, and we will see you next time on the Warning Track Power podcast, where we're just a few feet short of the fences, but all in on the game. See you next time.